Hi everyone, here is Moonlight Soul and Marissa from Growing the Flow, and we bring into you another episode of Stars and Cars. This time is an episode number 14, and this will be dedicated to full moon in Leo. And here we have a Leo. So welcome, Leo.
Oh, thank you. I feel right at home. It's Aquarius season and it's a Leo full moon, so I love
There you
it.
go. And you were born on a full moon in Aquarius, so I think this is the other side of it. So it's
There you
perfect.
go. Yes.
Well, it is definitely an enlightening moment with this illumination that's coming from this Leo. So let's see how this is been showing up for everyone.
Yeah, I'm getting that as a keyword. Shine. Shining is coming up and our inner shine, shining from within, and really like going into the heart and feeling it and shining out. So and also some hot messages this week have been coming up. So some like
Right.
heat, so as you know that from the our collective cards this week, and even just tapping in for the full moon in Leo for the empowerment pack, I can tease that there's some spicy cards that came up. So there's heat. Yes.
Yeah, and as we were saying just before pressing record, that it's on this is an episode 14, which comes to number 5, and fifth house in astrology is the house of Leo, which is all about the things you do for fun and joy, just like a sexy time and going dining and going doing hobbies and doing everything that gives you pleasure and stuff. So yeah, so I feel that we right on spot with that, with
Yeah.
all these topics.
Yeah. Passion, joy, like just lighting up and all the things. So yeah, we're gonna bring some cards in to see. Should we do Queen of the Moon first for our overarching?
Yeah, we can start with the Queen of the Moon, and
Hit that.
yeah, see what feisty cards will come out because yes, Leo is very fiery, and we definitely have a lot of energy going on in the sky. And as I was looking at the astrology from the full moon onwards, the week is gonna get crazy. It's a little bit of a quiet now. We're recording this on Tuesday, so there is not that much happening. Venus is moving into Capricorn today, but as of Thursday, things are really going to start kicking off.
And it seems in some cases that could be sort of energizing for some people. Like I was kind of picking up that like if you have been sort of like in a slump or like, having trouble getting motivated, that there could be some little boost of energy or kind of get the fire lit a little bit there towards the end of the week.
Absolutely, absolutely. I feel that too. And I mean, Mercury and Mars, I have the chart here. They're going to be trining Uranus by the end of the week. So definitely we are going to get a little push in certain direction to see, to
Yeah.
show us like how we need to individuate or liberate ourselves. And also I feel with this Leo very much into like people really reconnecting with the sense of joy and what they want to do, this inner purpose and destiny, and like what sets them on fire, especially now because it's in northern hemisphere we have the winter season, so I think people need a little bit of that to keep them going.
Yes, yes, for sure. Oh, okay. That I wasn't seeing that coming. So we've got this is kind of funny because the Empress showed up on the altar this week and it's from the Light Seers. So very similar, pregnant with the world, like that
Yes,
energy of, this Earth Mother and the full moon being depicted as it is in that card. So that's interesting. That was actually the card that came up for Wednesday, which is a midweek blessing. So wow, this one's called Faith. It's card 31. And so, you know, I think the message that came in with the Empress that I'm feeling definitely, kind of expanded on here is what we're birthing, but what we're gestating, and the idea of like this process of, moving through all of the contractions, the expansions, the false starts, all the different things that have to do with that birthing process, but having faith and being in the moment, wherever we are in the stage of the birthing process, and really, as we know, we're just starting out with this year. We had the new moon in Capricorn, and we really were talking about the seeds that we're planting and these sparks. But, at that point, it's just the seed. We haven't held it in our arms yet. We haven't brought it to materialization. It hasn't been birthed. So it's in there, so there's this energy of being pregnant with possibilities that have yet to to come forward.
Exactly. And I mean, I know you mentioned it and I mentioned it in my video that it's no coincidence that the first full moon of this year, the year 8, the strength card, the Leo, is the full moon in Leo. And I'm just adding the date, and it's 25th of January, which is 2, 5, and 1, which is 8. And we are in a year 8, 8, 8. And the Leo gate portal is on the 8, 8. So again, like it's not lost on me. And with all the fives, the 5 degrees, 15 minutes, which is number 11 actually. But yeah, I feel that it's very significant, all this numerology and all this, what it really signifies, because it is about birthing the new version of you, birthing this new direction, this new sense of purpose and destiny that is authentic to you. And it's coming from you, it's coming from the inside, just like she's you know, like just gestating, right? Like she's giving a birth to something, but we don't know exactly what it's going to look like. But because this is a full moon, I think people are having much more clarity since last August, when we had the new moon in Leo, of what it isn't. Because at the time of the new moon in Leo, we had the Venus retrograde, and Venus, of course, being the ruler of the South Node, which is, you know, was squared by Pluto until the new moon in Capricorn. So we had the past 5 months to reevaluate what actually is yours and what belongs to someone else. And we might have lived under the influence of, oh, this is what everybody's doing, this is what we should be doing, this is what should give you a sense of joy and pleasure and sense of fulfillment. And now 5 months later, with everything that happened in between, maybe a lot of people are realizing that it is actually authentic to me.
Yeah. Yeah, and really getting in touch with that. So really connecting within and what's happening within the internal process within you. So very much how, obviously likening it to the birthing process, the gestation process, you know, there's so many changes that happen on the inside first, and even long before we even see evidence, you know, that it's coming forward. So it's just sort of looking at all those different things as an analogy for, you know, what's really happening. And the fact, as you say, like being in Leo to really set the tone for this 8th year is really profound to me. Is just this, just as much as we had a wonderful opportunity with that first new moon to not only set our intentions for that lunation, but for the whole year. Likewise, I think we're really getting clarity around, you know, we have an opportunity to look at, well, what does bring me joy? What does light me up? You know, what do I want to birth? And then getting clear on like, well, what's blocking? What's in the way? And, you know, in some cases, those can be actual things like, you know, an old job that no longer resonates, or relationships or circumstances or routines and those type of things. But I think for a lot of people, it's energetic. It's like, you know, old beliefs or habits or patterns that we're recognizing are simply what's standing between us and our joy. And that the good news is we have all the ability to do or not do something around that in order to facilitate that, to create space for the joy to come in, you know, and to be birthed. Yeah, I was going to say that this card just has a simple mantra to say, I know all will be well, you know, because it's bringing in the faith, the understanding that I can't see it yet, but I have trust and faith that it will be well, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, and what we were tapping into this, like what is standing between you and that thing that you want. Well, we have Jupiter square in it, and it's actually interesting because Jupiter was also square in the new moon in Leo. It was Uranus, Jupiter, they were only 10 degrees apart, so they were kind of conjunct. But now it's Jupiter directly square in this full moon, and it's still about the belief systems. But the difference is that when we had the new moon in Leo, Jupiter was pre-retrograde. Now Jupiter is post-retrograde, and Jupiter being in Taurus, it's helping us to understand ourselves. You know, like what are your needs and values and your relationship to yourself, and whether the external world, whether you feel that you are being valued for who you feel you are and who you feel you are becoming. And as we had with the new moon in Capricorn, was square in the notes, now it's Mercury and Mars square in the notes in Capricorn. So it's like the opportunity to redefine, to look at things again, because as you mentioned in your weekly energetic forecast, that we have the Mercury Mars conjunction again, and we had one only last month, literally a month ago we had one, and it was when Mercury was retrograde, it was in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is squaring this moon. So what these planets are actually trying to show you is that, well, whatever we observe and had the opportunity to learn about ourselves and about the way we perceive that which we are experiencing, potentially now, it's no longer in alignment with who we are, what makes us happy, what is, in accordance with our values. And with the Capricorn energy, as we've been saying, with the 4 lunations in Capricorn, well, who's going to change it if you don't? You are the creator of your life, so it's up to you. So I feel this full moon in Leo, because full moon is always about illumination, we getting more light shine onto something. Like, what did we learn since August last year about ourselves that might or might not no longer be feeling that it's in alignment with our sense of purpose and destiny and what we came here to do.
Yeah, and in the same way that we're sort of, our awareness is expanding in that direction, I think so too are the outer circumstances that demonstrate that to us. So chances are we may be seeing increased examples of that being reflected back to us in our relationships, in our day-to-day, because we're being offered, continual opportunities to remove and eliminate those things that aren't serving, or to step into these new versions of ourself that we're expanding into. So we're seeing an expansion in the number of times, I think, that those opportunities are presenting themselves, right? Which can sometimes be misinterpreted as like, what the heck? Like, this things keep happening to me, or this, I keep running into this circumstance or that, or, in some way interpreting it as like, something that we have to deal with. But yes, we have to deal with it. So it's coming up for us to take that stand and maybe like take it to that next level so that we can step into. And it really just keeps coming back to our joy, our passion, that what lights us up, and creating space for that in our life by eliminating those things that aren't facilitating that for us.
Yeah, because it's still like we have this misconception that we should, because I liked something last year, I wanted something last year. It's like written on a stone, and this is who I am now. But as we keep changing, and I mean, again, it's not lost on me that the last full moon of 2023 was a full moon in Cancer, about your identity. Who are you becoming? And this is a continuation, just like you said. I feel that this is a continuation, where it is, because based on how we closed the year 2023, and remember when we were talking about Sagittarius new moon, that was our last video we recorded for 2023. It was about this new story we were seeing, and Sagittarius and Leo, they trine each other. So we ended 2023 with this illumination of, well, who are you becoming? What is the story? What is the role you want to play? And now this Leo, this Capricorn is saying, well, okay, we need to manifest it. We don't know how yet because it's new moon. We don't see how it's all gonna play out, but we have this, this like intuition about it, that we're going to change something here. And now with this full moon in Leo, it's saying like, okay, well, maybe last year you thought this was my purpose. This is what I want. This is who I am. But now we just got illuminated with the full moon in Cancer. But is it really still who you are? So I feel with this Leo full moon is a fantastic opportunity for us to really see, is this still what I consider my purpose? Does it make me happy? Because we can see it with the kids and we laugh about it because we say, oh, they have short attention span, or they don't stick with anything for too long, because they go through it so quickly and they say, well, this doesn't align with me anymore. It's not who I am anymore. But then when we become adult, we get so fixated, because Leo is a fixed sign, and so nostalgic that, oh, just because I liked it last year, I should forever like it. And it comes to what we do, how we represent ourselves, the people we hang out with, all of that, all the Leo qualities, what we do for fun. And is it still fun for you? So I actually had a client who, is going through something, and I said, well, does it still make you happy? Is it in alignment with who you are now? And if the question is no, then yeah, give it love, give it thanks, give it blessings, for it served its purpose, but maybe it's time to move on. And this is what I feel this full moon in Leo might be illuminating for many people. Does it still make me happy or not?
Yeah. As you're saying that, I keep thinking of like being happy-go-lucky. So a little bit more like, this, I enjoyed this today. This is fun today, but now maybe I try something new. But then also the other characteristic that came to mind was the loyalty, right? That fixated is like the loyalty of like, well, I put in the time, I've put in the money or the investment of something that's been invested, or maybe other people, whatever it is that we're sticking around out of obligation or loyalty to, or out of habit or whatever it is, that I think there's definitely, it's a perfect example to look at the children and learn from the way that they're able to move from thing to thing. And it's funny because it would be like, wait a minute, you guys just spent all that time setting up your game and all the toys and the things, the props that you were going to use, and you're done already? Like, what was the point? Well, the point was it was fun while it lasted, right?
It
Like
was an
they enjoyed
experience.
themselves, right? And now they're on to the next thing. Happy go lucky. You know, it's just kind of like, you know, so definitely highlighting, you know, inner child and like just doing something simply because you enjoy it. Like, and if you're not enjoying it, well, then what am I doing? And just having that illuminated to really see and say, well, what is the reason then? And it kind of brings us back, like you're saying, like at the end of the year, I was getting this message repeatedly about how much time am I willing to invest in something? Like if I had to put an amount on it, and I'm looking at this thing that is feeling heavy, that maybe I'm denying, my intuition is telling me like I don't enjoy this, I'm putting it off, I'm just procrastinating. These are all signs that I'm being shown that this is not for me, perhaps. How much time am I willing to put into it then? You know, and if I had to quantify that, what you know, having to say that is like, oh, do I really want to spend an hour like in that meeting or whatever it is? Because it doesn't resonate with me. And I know it doesn't resonate with me. So happy go lucky. And like you say, with love, with respect, you know, and allow yourself to expand on into the next thing in these different stages, you know, like just as we're seeing the pregnancy here, like these different stages, which then bring in, you know, and seasons and everything else that all factor into, you know, what brought us joy yesterday could be different than what is feeling joyful today.
Yeah, and it's interesting to me that, we have all these 6 signs, Leo in opposition with Aquarius, and of course, Aquarius new moon will be the next lunation after this one. And then we have Taurus and Scorpio in opposition, and we can see how if it's too much extreme of the one, then, it's kind of preventing the growth, right? So with the Leo, like we said, we can become so loyal and so fixated on something just because it's always been so. And then where is the Aquarius? Where is the sense of freedom and individuation? Because we get stuck in a rut. It's the same with the other two, like and then, of course, Scorpio comes in and takes it away. That's why it squares Leo. The Scorpio comes in and like, okay, it lost its purpose. Let's take it away because you have to grow, whatever. And that is the same with the Taurus and Scorpio. We hold a value in something, but then eventually everything's gonna lose value. Because Scorpio trines Pisces and stuff. Like it's all cycles. All the signs, they always communicate with each other. And with this Leo energy, because it's so fiery, it's the energy of creativity, of, yeah, like the sacral chakra, you're continuously creating something new, because Leo trines Aries and Sagittarius. And Aries is what? The continuous new beginning. And Sagittarius is what? Well, it's the school of life. It's the lessons we came here to learn. We didn't come here to be just fixated on one thing forever and ever, because our sense of purpose is changing as we are changing. It's not fixated. So that's why everything always works together. And I mean, like obviously I don't want to go too deep into all these aspects that are taking place, but it's perfectly underlined, with the Venus making sextile to Saturn, but Venus being the ruler of Uranus, and Uranus is trining Mercury and Mars. Uranus is the change. It's in Taurus. It's been helping us to reprioritize our lives since 2018. Suddenly we realize, well, maybe this doesn't hold so much meaning. Maybe something else does. And now with this Mercury and Mars conjunction coming up, it's like, well, maybe it's time to redefine it. Maybe it's time to look at it differently. And now Venus tidy up after everyone. She's all the way back behind everybody else. And ruler of the South Node is like, okay, because now you're creating something that's coming from you and has not been projected onto you from the external. So we're literally rewriting our lives because you're getting to learn yourself. And this full moon in Leo is illuminating that to us. Who were you before you became what everybody else wanted you to be?
Yeah. Wow. There's so much symbolism in the pregnancy too. And I'm thinking about like, and the fact that it looks like the earth, it's like literally birthing the new earth, but then thinking about that growing process. And like, I'm thinking about being kicked from the inside, like kicks and elbows and all the things that happen when you're taking it into pregnancy, that I could say it's like it all starts there. And that's where we're focusing here with the Leo is the solar plexus, this source, this sense of I am, and being brave and courageous and seeking out our joy to shine from the inside out. And it's like expanding to the point that we can't ignore it. It's literally elbowing and nudging you from the inside out. It's in your rib cage. It's like I gotta expand, you know. And it's like you get to that point, and 8 months is about it, where you're like, there is no more room for this.
I need to come out.
Yes.
But that's literally what it is, because in each and every single one of us, and that's why we know when we get upset and stuff, is the inner child kicking the fast. You know, you work too hard, you don't take the break, because that purpose, that something you came here to do, the calling of your destiny, it's becoming louder and louder. And that's what I feel, especially now, this year, a lot of people are becoming aware of that voice. Where am I not living my purpose? Where do I feel I'm stuck on a rat race wheel and hamster wheel and just going with the motion, and it's no longer enough? Because Pluto is now in Aquarius. Pluto is saying, where you came here to evolve, there is more out there. You know, we had the new moon in Sagittarius as the last new moon of 2023. We are writing a new story for ourselves. So that's why this is becoming much more self, I feel, on a tangible level, like more and more are being attuned to this, in a sense, dissatisfaction, because it's getting uncomfortable. You know, the baby is like kicking, screaming, and, you know, is making itself present. That baby, the destiny, the purpose, the inner child, it's making itself heard. You know, it's becoming louder, like, hey, you came here to do much more than just to be a cog in a wheel, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm totally feeling that. So let's get our tarot cards out here.
Let's do it.
With our story, we'll do our 3 cards just to see, to know, do, and be in this energy. See what comes up. We're going to use Psychic Tarot for the heart, right?
Because Leo rules hard.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what. That's funny. That was the one on the bottom. That was catching my eye. So that's going to be Wheel of Fortune as flow, right? Major Arcana. Yes.
There we go. There's our Sagittarius. That's squaring
Yep.
the new moon, full moon.
With that, I was seeing the orange sash as that sacral chakra energy just front and center too.
And the sun behind him. You know, it
Yeah.
looks like the wheel is mirroring the sun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a window.
Ooh,
Oh, magician.
Magician manifest. Wow. Okay. So yeah, the time is now. The wheel is turning, right? The season is now. We're moving into this stage of the birthing process to create, to manifest. Wow. All right. Is it going to be a clean sweep of Major Arcana? Let's see.
Yeah, let's do it, universe. There's a challenge.
Plus we got 1 energy, right? 10, 1. Let's see.
Wow, yeah, that's true.
This is going to be the yin energy. Ah,
1, 1, and 2.
1, 1, and 2. Okay. I love this card though. This is the 2 of Wands. And, you know, I've been doing the year ahead readings and I've done a number of them so far. So these are people's personal 24 card spreads. I've had, I think, 4 already getting 2 or 3 of Wands as their overarching energy for the year. So this energy is coming up for so many people because it is about planning and determining where to next, but it's very expansive. They're looking at a much bigger picture, as we can see here too. So wow. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that. So to know is that, you know, there's a new season coming in, that the wheel is turning, it's shifting into this new. And I always love how this one shows that ripple effect, the impact that we have, and the hand is on the heart. So there's this heart connectedness, and then this extension out into, and of course, water represents emotions. So it has to do with our feeling. What are we feeling? And being in touch with those feelings. And as you pointed out, the sun is shining in the background behind. But not even just the sun, as you look at it, I wonder if this could speak to the eclipse season coming in too, but that's actually a moon with that kind of outline of what we would take as the sun there with it, which could look like a compass. There's so many different things you could see about this, but that does look like the full moon illuminating, but there's definitely this sun energy too.
So it's the
And
full moon in Leo.
yeah,
The sun is ruled
there
by
we
the sun.
go. That's what it would look like if they had a child. Yeah, so there's this energy of flow coming in and getting in, being in flow. So one of the things I was thinking when you were saying about, it being harder and harder to ignore or it getting louder and louder, to the extent that that might overwhelm some people to feel like, oh, I have to make a change, or what am I not getting, or what's not right because it doesn't feel right, and having that be like an overwhelming thing or a sense of, failure, or I didn't get it right because now I no longer want this thing and I thought I did. And it's actually a sense of celebrating that awareness coming to you, that you now know that this is something that doesn't work for me. And so wow, I'm seeing this picture, differently, more clearly perhaps than before. And rather than moving backwards into regret for all the woulda, coulda, shoulda, and why didn't I, and all that, we're actually celebrating that awareness happening here and now, like in this moment, and as the wheel turns and we move into this new awareness stage, whatever we're finding ourselves, that to be in flow with that, like, okay, well, yesterday I did this, I put a lot of energy into that, today I'm moving in this direction, and not be so rigid with that, and allow yourself to just dip into that and see where it takes you.
And I feel a few things, like multiple things popped up for me. Like when you said about the, like what I was tapping into is the Virgo quality. And I'm like, where do I see Virgo? And of course, like magician is Mercury, which is, the ruler of Virgo. But one thing I wanted to bring people's attention to, which I have noticed and spoke about in my videos, was that since Christmas weekend, we've had every single week ending and beginning with moon in mutable sign. It was Gemini, we ended the year, the New Year's Eve, New Year's Day was moon in a Virgo. Then it was Sagittarius, Pisces. This week started with moon in Gemini, and obviously after the full moon in Leo, we're going to have moon in Virgo again. And this is a pattern which will be for two cycles, lunar cycles. It will end with the moon ending the week, starting a new one with moon in Pisces sometime like mid-February, I think February 18th or something like that. And then it will shift. Then we will starting the week with moon in Cancer, so cardinal sign. But to me, because I like geeking out about these kind of things, was very interesting because again, it doesn't get lost on me with the last new moon of 2023 being Sagittarius new moon, which is ruled by Jupiter. This Wheel of Fortune is a Jupiter energy, it's expansive energies, like we going into this new direction, we expanding. And now with the year 2023 ending, with the moon in Virgo beginning with moon in Virgo, it's all about adjustment. So I just want to piggyback on what you said, that we have this tendency, because that's how we've been conditioned. And again, don't beat yourself up about doing that, because it's natural, this is how we've been conditioned, to feel like we failed. Like if you don't stick with something, if you don't do something right, if you don't get it at the first time, it's all this low vibrational quality of Virgo. But it's not Virgo's fault. It's one of the aspects of Virgo. But I feel starting the year with moon in Virgo, we are being invited to see Virgo differently, to see it, because to me, always Virgo represents the hero's journey. And all these things, all these, a fool's journey, whichever way you want to look at it, doesn't matter the terminology. Every time we have a stop on our journey, it's not there to trip you up. It's there to help you to see something, or to understand something, or learn something. Again, this Jupiter, Sagittarian energy. What are we learning? What are we growing into? So it's to look at everything that came before with this love and compassion of the teacher, that, well, you were learning something and now you transcended that. So for example, like we use the analogy with regards to, like, for example, hobbies or something, like, yeah, I have a loyalty to this, I invested money into this, I invested time into it, but it gave you so much. It's not written off, because imagine all this time that you dedicated yourself to that particular thing. It taught you something, it gave you a sense of pleasure, sense of accomplishment, sense of whatever, otherwise you wouldn't be doing it, right? I mean, I hope so. If people have hobbies, I hope they enjoy them, right? Because that's Leo. So this is what I'm tapping into here, that this year everything is shifting, and we are invited to look at these archetypes a little bit differently. It's not about perfection or about clinically fixating on something, because how many times you hear people who've been in corporate jobs, like, I don't know, lawyers, doctors, and then, you know, they have the so-called midlife crisis, Uranus opposition in their 40s, and decide, okay, now I want to be an astrologer or something completely different, right? And then a lot of people might look at you like, you crazy, you build your life, your career, you know, you almost a judge or something, I don't know, and you throw it all in the wind. But if it lost a sense of meaning and purpose, that means you learned what you needed to learn from that experience. And this is where the mutable energy, Sagittarian energy, the wheel of fortune, is saying, it's okay. Maybe it's time to change the sail, you know, change the course. And then let's see what else we can learn, because we came here to grow. We came here to not just, like in past incarnation, one life was dedicated to just one lesson. Now we living in a Pluto in Aquarius era. Everything is happening quickly, and we are waking up to our multidimensionality. And our soul wants to have a lot of experiences in one lifetime now. It doesn't want to be die and reborn again just to go through one experience. No. So that's what I feel with this, everything that, you know, all these multidimensional layers we can go tapping into. The wheel is turning because you are realizing that you are much more than you believe you were, and maybe it's time to answer new call of destiny.
Yeah, so much. Yeah, all of that. It's like and there isn't just one wheel either. There's multiple things happening at once, as you say, with the multidimensionality, where, you know, I may have been very fixated on this one wheel, and so naturally my thoughts, my energy has all been going into this thing, and now I'm feeling this pull into something else, and then enter in all of the critical mind and the judgment and all the things. But that's to be expected because that's what we have known. But now that we come into this place of awareness that there's actually more, that there's other wheels, there's other things that I could be trying and doing, I was actually feeling like pulled into this magician, because as you were saying that, it was reminding me of like another lifetime ago when I worked in the corporate world and I worked in customer service, you know, in the phone queue with the headset and like endless calls coming in. And I remember feeling like, what is the point of this job? Like, who am I helping? Like, how am I really helping anybody? What's the, you know, what's the deal? And at that time, my perspective was very limited. And then eventually, 20 plus years later, I had this epiphany when I was doing a tarot reading for someone, when I realized that, and the person happened to be 80 years old. Okay. And so when I worked in customer service, I worked with a lot of retirees. I worked with people who were older and not as familiar with, at the time, emerging technology, and they were confused and were on the phone. And I developed a skill set of being able to communicate with people and speak to them in a way that they would understand. And it developed something that I just thought at the time was being stuck in a cubicle, have like soul sucking, you know, job, that actually, who knew that in my, you know, treasure chest of tools and things that I acquired along the way, some of those things while participating in activities that weren't exactly lighting me up with joy, actually came in handy 2 decades later, reading the tarot to a senior citizen, you know, and being able to use those skills to manifest something completely different that also brings me joy, you know. And so it's like, it was just, you know, bringing to mind for me, and this is our position to do, the action to take is like, again, don't negate all that the things that you have tried and done along the way, or put your energy into, because in many cases that hobby or that activity or that whatever it is, you know, there was a chain of events that occurred that even might be why you now found this new thing that's got your attention, you know, because of people you met, or, you know, things that popped up in your path as a result of going down this other one that, yes, you've been exploring it, you've been learning through it, you've had experiences, and now the wheel has turned and there's an opportunity to move. Like, this is what we're saying with like creating this like momentum that's coming from like being inspired, the spark of something that is like, ooh, that lights me up, that makes me excited. Like I feel something that I now want to go play with that. And that's what the magician is doing. You know, that's one of the things I always say about the magician is needing to have a willingness to make mistakes, to get it wrong. You know, I have these ingredients, I have these things, I'm going to try something. And maybe it works for a while, or I'm enjoying it, and then it doesn't work, or, you know, it doesn't turn out the way that I expected it to. I now know that. Now I've gathered this information and I'm aware of what works and what doesn't. And I go back to the cauldron and I create again, you know? So there's just this really, I just love that this came up because it really feels like this fresh opportunity to create something new using all of that. Use that. You're getting a return on investment because you had the experience. And now, even if it is just information gathering, that, you know what, actually, I thought I was going to make like a whole lot of that, you know, craft project that I bought all these supplies for. And the truth is, it's just sitting in the corner. Okay, you know, like what did I learn from that I can now apply to creating something new?
Yeah, I was just checking, and literally, Mercury, Venus, and Mars all still trine in Jupiter. You know, from that Capricorn, they all still trine in Jupiter, and you know, Mercury because of the magician. But what I really wanted to say, you know, like as we know with the traditional tarot, the magician has all the suits, yeah, all the suits, the pentacles. You know, he's got the pentacle. He's got the, you know, he's the only one that's got all the suits on his desk. You know, like you can create whatever you want from that. And it's so beautiful how you said that, because to me, magician is like an alchemist. You know, it's turning something into something completely different. And it, you know, as we can see throughout, you know, the known history that we were being told, uh, every new invention always came from people trying something different. They're trying to do something different, you know, like something outside of the box, and not being afraid to make the mistakes, even though sometimes it, you know, it didn't work out the best way and it had consequences. But even that was a learning opportunity to serve its purpose, that okay, don't do that, that is harmful, or you know, not good for the rest of people or whatever. So what I wanted to say about this card, and you know, being the magician, and how you just like yourself gave an example with regards to your, you know, past occupation and stuff. But this is everything in life, you know. It's our occupations, it's like maybe even the relationship you've had, you know. I'm not saying for some people that is the case, that they, you know, married their very first boyfriend, their childhood, you know, high school sweetheart or whatever. For some people, that's not the case, because you're trying to figure out what it is that I'm seeking, what it is that I want, what it is that I'm learning, and everything is an experience. And I know, especially Pluto Scorpio over here, we have the tendency to get so attached to something, and when it doesn't work out, when it, you know, naturally dies or loses meaning, whatever that is, whether it's a hobby, whether it's a job, whatever it is, we have this tendency to say, oh, I wish it never happened, you know, like, or, you know, relationship especially, that, oh, I wish I never met that guy and stuff. And I'm like, why steal that tool, that, you know, that information, that memory out of your knapsack, you know, that you accumulated as a tool. So every single job I've ever had, and I mean, I had plenty, because I don't stick with one job for long. You know, that's why I work for myself, because usually I was changing jobs every year. I had like very long CV, and I was like, and you know, some people, especially my parents, because traditionally and all that, they will get very frustrated. Like, why do you have to change all these jobs? Why do you have to do all these courses? Why you have to travel all these places and stuff? And I'm like, because, you know, obviously I'm not saying things to be in extreme, but this is how we learning about ourselves, and this is how we accumulating these tools, which we then put into this cauldron, do alchemize and create a new experience as a magician, you know, to magically create, manifest, as the card says, a new experience for yourself as a soul, because you are a multidimensional soul, and you are multidimensional. And I, as I was just saying to my client today, you are not just this one life. Your soul has brought imprint, and you are an amalgamation of everything that came before. And all these aspects of you are now coming online. You know, we're tapping into all these different aspects of ourselves that want to come online and play. And you know, that's why, like, okay, one day you want to go and sing, one day you just want to chill, one day you want to go and take a trip, whatever. But it's all aspects of the, you know, of your soul that just wants to have an experience and play like a child, because school of life over here, hello, you know, this is where you can have the tangible experience of that. So that's why I feel this is so beautiful with this magician, and how it ties up so beautifully to everything else that's there with the cards, because it's showing us that, in a sense, universe is showing you this year, especially being the, you know, transformational year, the pivotal year, just use everything that you put into your knapsack and create whatever you want out of it, something that actually will make your heart think, and it gives you an opportunity to grow and learn something different.
Yeah. And it feels like you could be with that uncovering some things that you didn't realize that you loved, or talents you didn't realize you had, because you never got to tap into them before. So now it's like, or like, it almost feels like we're using other muscles, we've maybe been trained on a particular area, and now it's like we're diversifying. We're spreading out our portfolio a little bit to dip into other things and try new things. And that beautifully brings us into the Two of Wands, because the two is really that meeting place of a choice point between that which is familiar, that I already know, and the unknown, and a lot of times we see that depicted with those two wands, where one is very sturdy and tethered and in this familiar place, and the other one I always look at like a walking stick. Like if I were to head out there on a walkabout, I would be taking this one with me because I've never done this before. And, just like we're seeing here, looking out into this universe. And I love that the light is shining in, because it really does feel like this full moon illuminating pathways that maybe were just right here the whole time that we didn't see or not. And it doesn't matter. That's the other thing. Like, again, there's no, even like like we just have this knack for, even like, what, let's say you get somewhere and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can't believe I didn't do this sooner. All the time I wasted. Like somehow we still managed to make it into like a woulda, coulda, shoulda, slapping ourselves on the wrist. It's like, I'm celebrating that, like, yes, I see it now, and following that path, or seeing, what is lighting up for you, because even if that's not a forever thing, and it probably isn't going to be a forever thing, it's a right now, this is where I'm feeling drawn and I'm going to explore. It's like I'm exploring that. And that's the Fool, on this exploration. And here it's just starting out new, that the wheel has turned. There's a new cycle. We're moving into the beginning again. We start back at one. We're back at the drawing board. We're back at the cauldron, seeing what all we have in here from all these other prior adventures we've had, and then using those things to carve this new path.
That's so amazing, because, well, one thing I wanted to add with regards to what you said about the previous card, about that, we were like, we are going into different, I don't know how you said the word, but what came to me was decentralizing. We are decentralizing because we created this, because that's Capricorn, this hierarchy, like everything together, right? But then Aquarius, and now Pluto is already in Aquarius, is decentralizing. So it's kind of like your soul wants to, decentralize. It wants to do all these different things. And then the card literally to me is like the soul coming on, like, oh, just like, your soul wants to sing. It wants to spread its wing and fly. It doesn't want to be in the box, like, oh yeah, this is all I am, this one identity, this one job. And there is nothing wrong with it if that's what you want right now, it's what you want to experience. But I think it's important to realize, am I doing this because I enjoy it, or because this is what I was told I should be enjoying, or because I was told there is nothing else you can do, this is the way, I have no other choice. So that perfectly ties up to the number 2, which, there is a choice to be made. There are 2 wants, what do you want to do with it? So, and it's interesting that again is a fire, with the 10, the Jupiter, and the Sagittarian quality is the fire. We have a full moon in Leo, it's the fire. The Magician is Mercury, which is the air. Add the air to the fire, and you can see it's all these, like, it seems like he's got some fire above him, And then this also, like, that it's 2 of Wands, right? The purple, I believe it's 2 of Wands. But because it's purple, it's like it's speaking directly to your soul, because the Leo, the fire, the fire of creativity, the heart is the connection to your soul. The inner child is the bridge to your inner child. The inner child is the bridge to your soul, to your higher self. And that's what I feel. It looks like a child being bridged to that higher self, the light, like it's literally like connected. So it's just so fascinating, because I really feel just like you were tapping into in this video and the weekly report, that after Leo full moon, a lot of things might shift for people. They might feel lighter, they might feel more energized, they might feel more like, yes, this is what I want. And it's like gives you this like a reason to get out of the bed, that this is what I want to experience, and it will put the fire back in your belly, and it just kick in the butt. and say like, well, I haven't done this yet. If not now, then when? Let's just go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is that card of planning that too, like assessing and planning, and spread your wings is what it's called on here. So it's expansive, right? She's expanding into, and I've said about this card before that it's sort of like, again, that unknown path. I can't quite see what lies ahead. It's almost like she's getting her, balance there to step out, but she's looking open, and she's definitely divinely guided. You see that light coming in over the crown, which I think is what you were just saying with the soul and connecting in with the heart and having that be illuminated. And again, it's like, I think there's some excitement then and motivation that comes from having and I say plan loosely. I feel that here too, like you're saying, like it's fluid, it's nebulous. That's the word I was thinking of when you were saying it, because it's like you've let it out now, it's let out of the box and it's sort of taking shape. But it's malleable. Again, it's not too rigid, but there is an outline here so that it is like some boundaries, right? There is an aspect of setting your boundaries, but again, they're movable because you're moving, you're expanding. And so too then will your boundaries and your what you thought was possible and what you now know is not acceptable for you or possible for you or whatever it is, that I feel like there's some focus coming in through what's taking place on the other side of it, as we can and for that, it's going to require faith, right? The faith in believing that, I already have this template within me and that there are things happening, with the wheel turning that are helping to awaken that and bring that online. And as I do, the way is shown and illuminated. And when I tap into my heart and follow my joy, that is my guide. That's my template that will not steer me wrong. They're all experiences. It's all information gathering.
Exactly. And it's interesting that before you said that, like maybe it will last, maybe it won't. Well, I can tell you for sure it won't, because because it's a circle of life. Because that's why the chart is the wheel, because everything that once begins will end. Because that's how nature works. So eventually everything will lose meaning. Eventually everything will have to return back to the source. And that's why we need to choose with our heart. Like, how do you want to spend your time? What do you want to do with it? Do you just want to wait for it to end, or do you want to max it out before it ends? And also with this, when you were describing this, that, well, it's fluid, but it takes the form. Well, it's the holographic universe, because that's where we live in. Like our soul, you as the creator of your reality, you are projecting your reality out there, and it creates this very tangible, realistic looking reality. That's why it's like a hologram. It keeps shifting and changing, but it's real for while it's real. But the more you change and evolve, you project a different thing out there, and that will be your experience. And this is where, my brain is getting stretched this year, and I, would like to hope to bring this energy through. And I'm sure it's happening for many people. I know it's happening for you, and perhaps people watching us, that suddenly you see things from multiple different layers. Just like with this magician, nothing is set in a stone. Nothing is really just, this is what it is and it's forever like this and stay fixated and it's never going to change. Yes, somebody out there would like you to believe that, but that's not how universe works. Because you as the magician, you are shifting your experience on hourly, minute basis all the time. So the reality we are experiencing is real because you're experiencing it right now, and we don't try to pretend it's not happening, because it is happening. It's not an illusion. It is an experience you're having right now, but it doesn't mean it can't change, because you are the magician and you projecting that which you are experiencing. It's coming from inside out, not from outside in. That's what the magician is showing. It's coming from inside. It's coming from the cauldron.
Yeah, it is. Wow. I mean, they're all saying that, really. I mean, it's coming from inside and we're reaching into the inside, extending it out. Yeah, like it's wow. All right. So what do we think? Do we want to go for a fifth card because we're talking about 5 with Leo?
Because of the Leo.
Just cap it off. What do we want to set as our intention? Just a final.
I would ask the tarot what people should be focusing on until the next lunation in Leo, which I believe is 4th of August, just before 8/8 portal. Because now when people might be getting the illumination, because like you said, like it doesn't necessarily have to feel comfortable. because you realize that, wow, I really wanted this, I really like this, I cared about this, and now suddenly I decide, well, I don't actually like my job anymore. It doesn't matter how much so it could be actually quite, destabilizing for some. So, I would ask Tarot that, okay, well, how to work with this energy then? Now you know that, yes, things are changing. You are realizing you can create whatever you want, but some people might go, well, but I don't know what I want because this is all I thought I wanted. So, with this, like, obviously the Two of Wands saying, well, trust your spirit, trust your soul, but perhaps, there could be a further guidance that, well, this is what you can kind of focus on in the upcoming 6 months until the next lunation in Leo, if you want to.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, yeah, because we got faith, flow, manifest, spread your wings. All right. Well, what's the best guidance for the how-to guide on how to experience, right? Like how to best flow forward as we manifest and spread our wings and step into this uncharted territory. Best guidance, best advice.
So is there a card that's called Fly? Spread your wings and fly.
Yes. Yes. Is it going to finish? How will it finish our sentence?
Yeah. Spread your wings.
It's like, did you ever play Mad Libs? Have you ever heard of Mad Libs, where it's like a
No.
story and there's blank lines and it says verb, adjective, whatever, and the other person, not knowing the story, just made a list of those things. So then you plug them in and it makes a ridiculous story, right? Because like it's just a verb, but it's not appropriate for the story, and it makes a really funny story. Mad Libs.
It definitely brings the creativity out of people.
Yes. All right, let's see. What's our best advice here? Feel this one. Ah,
The devil.
interesting. This card is in the spread for the Empowerment Pack's full moon reading, by the way. I don't remember exactly which position it's in. I know it's the last card, but I don't remember the intention. But okay, this is the devil. So we have this energy of master coming up. Master, okay. Faith, flow, manifest, spread your wings, master. Okay, so becoming the master of your own destiny, your own journey, rather than holding yourself captive and playing small. And again, it's centered around the heart. It's centered around freeing your heart. Because keeping yourself small and keeping it, that baby has to come out. Like you can't just live in there forever. Like it's gotta come out. There's only so much room in the womb, So it's like I feel like this is showing us that not to limit the expansion, allow for that expansion, trying to bottle it up and close the lid and keep it tight because that's what's familiar and comfortable or safe, is what not to do, so we have this energy of going, challenging the comfort zone, challenging the old patterns and behaviors and the tendency to go back in and close the lid and close it down so that we don't feel so vulnerable. Standing like this feels very vulnerable. Like I know, like I do that when I stand. I always tend to like cross my arms and have that posture of like being closed off because it feels comfortable. I feel safe, like I'm holding on, and there's an energy of like that's a subconscious way of like trying to protect your energy. Not that you shouldn't protect your energy, but just it's bringing an awareness to that area for us to really focus again on the heart here with this card.
Absolutely. And one thing that I want to geek out about is like, we have the 1, we have the 2. Then the first card is 31, right? So we have the 3 and 1 is 4. And now we just got 1 and 5. 5 and 1 and 5 is 6. So there definitely is a sequence going on here. And the other thing, obviously, being a devil card, like this is something that, like I was talking about in my previous videos, which was about, like based on our program and the story that's been passed on from generation to generation. And I know you are aware of, my channeling session and what was being told to us, to share, because this is what I believe I was being said, what I was being said to share. Because our ancestors, we all have been put into the box. The soul was making so small, and you said it yourself, that how much the soul has been compressed and restricted until now, 2000 years later, or even many, many, many more years later. We don't see who we really are. We don't trust ourselves. We don't believe. We externalize our power. And this is the year of Capricorn. This is the year ruled by Saturn. This is the year with 4 lunations in Capricorn. And the devil is the Capricorn. So you need to become your own Capricorn, because the external Capricorn out there, you know, that one in power, the puppeteer, the one is only just playing the role to help you understand who you really are, because there has to be a body for you to become the hero of your journey. Otherwise, you wouldn't know that you are a hero, right? So this is how we have to hold the multi-dimensional perspectives from now on, because we are in Pluto Aquarius times. We have one more dip into Capricorn, but still, we are fully getting into Aquarian age with Pluto in Aquarius. So it's no longer just, you know, holding on to the solid three-dimensional. We need to hold all these different perspectives, because otherwise you'll be lost. You'll be lost because Saturn is in Pisces. Nothing is what it fully seems. There are multiple layers, facets, and angles you can be looking at a situation. So the devil is actually perfect, because it's telling us that what is on the left-hand side, for me anyway, everything that you have as a potential, it's on the other side of you facing the devil, and the devil is our own fixation, our own belief that there is someone external of us that is creating this reality for you. But there isn't. These people are literally serving the purpose, and all this stuff that we will be experiencing in a tangible reality will be pushing us to actually acknowledge who you really are, which is the sovereign being, which is the soul incarnate with unlimited potential. And in essence, nobody can ever do anything to you that will harm you, because you are eternal. You are eternal being. And when we overcome that fear, you know, the fear, because that's the main thing, how the control takes place, right? Then you become your own Capricorn, because you've always been the Capricorn. But at the moment, majority of people see themselves as the heart in a cage that somebody else has a control over. So that's why we have 4 lunations in Capricorn in a year 8, ruled by Saturn and Jupiter, because this is what we're learning. We are learning to embody the Capricorn, because the potential for everything you want is just right next to it, as you can see. So this card is actually perfect, because it's making us aware of what is, how we preventing ourselves from stepping into that and birthing that new earth, birthing that new potential.
Yeah. All of it. Yes, so much. And it could go in so many different directions. And it all just comes back to the fact that that's actually good news, because it's empowering to find out that actually that what we thought was pulling all those puppet strings and controlling us is actually coming from within, which brings us full circle to the year of the strength card, of taming the beast within, of taking those two parts, which both play a role, the light and the shadow, and bringing them to heal, bringing them to a place where, and as this you were saying, as it adds up to a 6, is bringing in the energy of balance and harmony, of harmonizing those things. And that is going to be through expansion into your joy and really seeking out, which again is coming from within. So it's just really all so perfect. And yeah, it's just really cool. It was reminding me, though, like a silly example too, is like, you know, maternity clothes. You know, that it gets to a point where that waistline is just too constricting, you know, that tightness. And once you go to those comfy clothes, it's hard to go back. You know, there's no shoving it back in there, because there is this, you know, this idea of letting yourself expand. Doesn't have to be literal. Expand, and it's coming from that solar plexus of what brings you joy and what lights you up, and you know, and the sacral chakra with the passion and the sparks and the desire and everything, and of course connecting that in with the heart. You know, that's where it's all focused, and that's going to be what is illuminating the next rest of this year ahead, that, you know, as we explore and expand. And again, it's all something to celebrate. It's to the extent you can. I know it's hard, because when you come face to face with that awareness that says, oh my gosh, it was me, you know, and it's like you look under everything, it's me, I'm the one that was, you know, holding the key to this prison. Again, it's celebrate that awareness, celebrate that illumination coming in. It's a whole new set of tools going into the toolbox there for you now to create with, in a really powerful way, in a way that you haven't thus far, you know, so it's actually really exciting for what's possible. And you wouldn't have necessarily arrived right here in this place in this moment had it not been for all of those times along the way that you had experiences that now, you know, you look back on and see differently.
Oh my God, I just got so many downloads right now. I don't even know where to start. So just to geek out, just for people to have the opportunity to geek out. Number 4, 3 and 1. Number 4, it is the Saturn, but 4 is the house of Cancer. And obviously Capricorn devil is the Capricorn. Cancer and Capricorn are in opposition. What we have in the first card, a pregnant woman, Cancer, motherhood, mothering, you know, it's also your own inner safety and security, which Cancer and Capricorn have to be in balance. If you don't feel safe and secure inside, then how can you go and create what you want? But then if we are in the opposite extreme, it can become too dogmatic, authoritarian. So this is the first thing, and I'm also tapping into full moon in Capricorn potentially in summer, because it will be around new moon in Cancer, and we have 2 full moon in Capricorn. So, and that's of course the full moon in Capricorn. The number 2 will be the last full moon before the new moon in Leo, because that's end of July, and new moon in Leo is the 4th of August, I believe. But the other thing that I came up with, which like, because as you were saying, like, how would you know? Well, the other aspect of this, devil card, because we ask for guidance, going forward, and we have 2 full moon in Capricorn, June, July, is that, yeah, you will see more of it. Because Leo is also about validation. It's about self-validation. And it's about, to me, it's always about, like, I don't know if people watch Avatar, but how they always say, I see you. I see you, I see you. This is namaste. I see you. I see the, so this is how I see the Leo. I see you. I see the divine within you. But we will also see the opposite. We will see the devil, because for the heart, for the light to transmute the dark. So that's what I feel, and I'm getting goosebumps. So Spirit is confirming within the next, and between now and summer, between now and the new moon in Cancer, full moon in Capricorn, and new moon in Leo, we will see more. We will see more of it, because it needs to be transmuted. But again, like you say, well, now you know. Now you know. So you have a choice. You can do something about it. Before it was hiding, whether it's your own subconscious patterns and limiting beliefs, you can't do nothing with it, because you can't see. You can't see. But now you will see, we will know, we will see. So we can change it. So this is like, again, like, this is not to fear monger or anything, but I'm saying you will see more. But in a sense, it's exactly how you said, even though it sounds completely wacky to say this, celebrate. Because when you see it, you can change it. You can do something about it. Before you could see it, you couldn't do anything. So this is what I mean. Multidimensional, we need to hold both. It's not going to be walk in a rose garden this year. If anybody expects that, then, be prepared for multidimensional experience. But once you see, you can change it. So, and of course, everybody's going to be experiencing everything from their own vantage point, which is depends on your, your Jupiter, your Sagittarius. What is your belief system, your perception of reality? But these cards are so, again, they're so deep, because they're showing us so much within the symbolism. The only way to find the balance, number 6, and stability, number 4, is to, face both.
Yeah. And the word master too, because the master, this is the master class, like for humanity, like to master, and that's the thing, is that as we expand, as we were saying, so are the polarized experiences that are showing up, in order for us to practice, to hone that's the other part of the magician, is you have to practice and hone your craft. You don't just walk right out there as Houdini pulling off these masterful sleight of hand, like there's a practice. I have to imagine there's many false starts, with the birthing process. So I think the masterful energy here is not, being the master of your own power, of your own magic, your own essence, and knowing that truly nothing else does have power over you, and remembering that, as our key words have shown up here today, to have faith, to flow, to manifest, to spread your wings and master. This is mastering that next level, which again is going to include the full gamut of experiences. So yeah, and again, it's about awareness. It's about being mindful, not fearful, having a presence of mind to tap in. And that's why we do this, is in order to empower ourselves, being that we now have insight and guidance and wisdom into that, so that when it shows up, it's like, oh yeah, I see you, I see you. And now I step into my ability to make a choice with that, of how I'm going to proceed.
Yeah, and this is so perfect because this is also what I've been trying to help people understand, that when you go through challenges in your life, and we all do on one way, in one way, another level. Well, it's interesting because Capricorn is associated with self-mastery, but it's through the hero's journey. You have the Taurus, like you have this, unknown skills within you, the seed is within you, the self-sufficiency, the ability to give birth to something, to create it within you. But how are we gonna ever know what's been inside of you if you are not being tested? So that's what I mean. When people go through really challenging situations, that's where they really learn what they're made of.
Yeah.
And that's the path to self-mastery. It's through Virgo. It's through trial and error. It's through all these experiences that bring us down to our knees, and then we stand up, and then eventually we look at our life and we see the trajectory of it, and the soul is proud. It says, I've grown, and like, yeah, the Capricorn is all about self-mastery. And the only way you ever see it is you start trusting yourself. How are you going to start trusting yourself? Because universe tests you and you overcome all these obstacles. And then eventually you say, yeah, I survived all of it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Wow. So it's a big one, because it's definitely setting our path forward, and continuing to pack our knapsack that we're bringing with us this year with our tools to create.
But look at the Two of Wands. The soul is excited. The Two of Wands, like, yeah, bring it on. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
she
Then
does kind of look like, all
to
right,
grow.
what else do you got? Come on. Yeah, let's do this.
Like, wait, let's face this. Like, let's face this show. She to me looks like on a stage. Like, oh, at the end of the performance, where they like the last song. When they're like pulling up the high tone, and then everybody starts clapping. That's what
Yeah.
it is. The soul is excited. The soul is like, yes, I was born for this. I have everything I need. The magician. The wheel is turning. Time is now. We're just chasing. We don't know where it is going to go, but don't worry. The new earth is being birthed, whether we're ready or not. And yeah, and we just have to pass the master class. And that's why even the channeled beings, they say planet of Earth is not easy. When they say like, oh, yeah, poor humans, they're little kindergarten, they say, no, you are all masters. You all masters, because it's not easy being here. This is a master class, just like you said. So now, we're growing into it. We're learning that actually, yes, you are a master creator, and you've never been this small thing in a cage. Like, that's what they want you to believe. And they want you to believe that because that's the role they play. Because otherwise, how would you know if you don't see the polarity of that, right? So that's what I mean. We can just keep going forever because there are so many layers to these cards. But I guess people get the get the hints of it.
Yeah, I know. We could just keep going. But yeah, I think this is like, yeah, this is a big one to see on the other side when we come out and have our next episode, where to from here. But this is definitely kickstarting things, and getting that fire lit for our magic we're making here this year, for sure.
Absolutely. Cool. So Marissa, tell everyone what offerings you got.
I have a special for this full moon, this reading that I've been teasing. I'm just getting ready to record it. So anybody who wants to come along, we'll put the link in the description. It's on the 25th, so it's $25, and it's a full moon reading. We have a 5-card spread, and then personal card pulls for you. So that's the big one that's happening here and now. Still working on the year ahead readings, and so those are still available if anybody wants that big 24-card look at your year ahead. And the February Empowerment Pack will be kicking off. So that'll be another fresh month of readings to work together and see what's on deck there too.
Absolutely, because I can't believe we almost end in January.
I know, it's
Yes,
crazy.
crazy. But yeah, I absolutely highly recommend the 2024 reading. I had the pleasure and the privilege to already had received mine, so I'm very grateful. And it's awesome. It's absolutely a perfect guideline, because you still make your own free will choices, but it's a very good guideline to support you on your path. So
Yeah.
I highly recommend.
Thank you. And I want to say before you share about your offerings, be sure to mention your latest videos because they are amazing. And I know you said that the channeling that you just brought through, definitely. So make sure you let everybody know about that because it was amazing.
Well, people, if you're watching me on my channel, then you probably watched some of my past videos. But yeah, I've been tapping more and more into my channeling. I'm taking channeling classes, and I'm definitely bringing through astrology through the lens of the spirit. So this is my new direction of my work, where I am moving away just from the technical astrological terminology, and I'm co-creating with the spirit and just letting it flow wherever it wants to go. So yeah, if you are interested, check out my videos. I hope that they bring some value and helpful hand in these times. And yeah, if you would like a reading, I'm fully booked until mid-February now, but you can find all my offering on my website, moonlightsoul369.com.
Awesome.
Thank you. It was a pleasure as always. Always my favorite day of the 2 weeks.
Yes, me too.
So I hope everybody found some value in this. And if you do, like, subscribe to both of our channels to support our work. And thank you so much, Marissa, to finding time because I know your busy schedule is completely packed. So I appreciate you.
You too. Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. So until next time, bye everyone.